time to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in AFL Supercoach are incoming, helping you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight AFL Show with your hosts, BigHorse, Skitty, and Herbie.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Insight AFL Show. I am the Supercoach BigHorse and I'm here to run you through this year's AFL rookies you might want to consider for your 2024 AFL Supercoach season. But before we start, if you haven't, hit like and subscribe please, and even better, jump in our Discord. Insight Unlimited is live. And for less than 50 cents a week, which is an upsized Zinger box with an extra Zinger bacon and cheeseburger on the side, you'll get access to everything we do, our insights, our trades, our captains, exclusive premium Q&A, every round of Supercoach, and a few other cool perks. Entry to Discord is, of course, and always will be free if you wanted to get involved in the community and talk Supercoach or fantasy sports. Our $25, $50, and $100 leagues are live as well at the moment and up and running. So if you're interested in taking part, please comment below and we'll send you some details. Just quickly, I'll throw it back on the screen again. The cash leagues are filling up quite quickly. So if you are interested, jump in our comments below and we'll get you sorted. So this episode today, we're going to talk about the AFL rookies. I'm going to go through what they were like during their TAC/Coates League Cup year to give you a bit of an insight as to what the players were like, their strengths, their weaknesses, their notes from recruiters. So then you can look forward to seeing these notes or what the professionals thought about these players live in the flesh when you view or when you see your players playing that are in your Supercoach team or the teams that you support and barrack for. So our first lot of rookies are going to be brought to you today by our long-term sponsors, the Standard Squeeze. They are helping you drink responsibly and conveniently. You can go to their website, thestandardsqueeze.com, and use the code INSIGHT15 to get yourself 15% off everything in store. So, number one, let's start with the big dog of the 2023 draft, Harley Reid. West Coast Eagles from the Bendigo Pioneers, 207K mid-forward. Bit of a snapshot. This year's top prospect, Harley Reid, is a powerful athlete who dominates at the contest, can play in each third of the ground, and has extensive highlight reel. So you've heard me describe how good this guy is. These are notes from, I guess what you call scouts from around Australia who have watched him play. There have been a few more heavily hyped draft prospects in recent years than Harley Reid, who was touted as the hottest prospect. He put together a sparkling bottom age campaign and backed it up last year to become the two-time All-Australian and Coates League Talent Team of the Year member. Coming into last season, the National Academy star was named skipper of the Bendigo Pioneers and co-captain for Vic Country, where he took out the MVP honours despite less than ideal preparation with injury. The list goes on. He's done it all throughout the junior pathways. Such was Reid's dominance at under-18 level over the last two seasons. Recruiters wanted to see him challenged with the exposure at senior level. He answered that call by representing Carlton and Essendon in the VFL in 2 of the 6 sides that he ran out across a busy year for Harley. He even snuck in a senior game back home at Tongala, which we've spoken about, where he kicked 3 from the midfield and was one of the better players on ground. Long story short, for your Supercoach season, you've got to pick this guy. In Tim Michelle's side, as we've seen on X, on Twitter, whatever you want to call it, he's actually got Harley Reid at this stage as his F1, given our scarce players that we've got to choose from in our forward lines. Pretty good pick for me. For all the fanfare and achievements that he has achieved in the past, there have been hurdles along Reid's path. He missed a month of footy due to a head knock in 2023 and was managed in the back end of the season after jarring his knee as well. He had more attention to him given just purely because of his superstar status at underage level. But moving into the big leagues, he's not going to be double, triple team like he was at under 18 level. And I think you'll expect to see him excel. His strengths, according to scouts across the country, are his contested work, scoreboard impact, versatility, and his overall X factor. His weakness is his endurance. But I'm sure with the right training and a good base, he will excel. So, as I said earlier, these notes are a collaborative note collection that I've got here from all recruiters across Australia. Or not all recruiters, sorry. Some recruiters across Australia. So these are just, not all notes, but some notes that I've picked apart that I wanted to share with you guys at home that are tuning in with us. Zane Dersma, the number 4 pick at North Melbourne, Gippsland Power Products, 193k mid forward. So the Gippsland Power Product has compiled a decorated junior career since making his Coates talent debut in 2021, playing 5 games in a struggling side back then. He went on to earn consecutive Team of the Year honours and was the competition's leading goal kicker this season, booting 29 in 10 games. Dersma has kicked over 30 goals in the last 2 years, so that was including finals last year, 29 in the home and away series. As a bottom major, he turned out twice for Vic Country and showed his wares in annual Futures Showcase AFL Grand Final Day. Selection in the National Academy for 2023 was almost inevitable, with Dersma deemed a top prospect in the draft crop. With the accolades, including All-Australian honours, continuing to pour in throughout the year, Dersma has delivered on the promise he has shown for some time. He even played a little bit at VFL level, playing 2 games with the Casey Demons, which added to his senior experience. Rounding out the year, Dersma was named Gippsland Power's best and fairest, while also taking out the Rookie Me Central Medal. He earned an invite to National Draft Combine and impressed on the boards, posting the second best running vertical leap of 97 centimetres. That's quite high. His all-round athleticism is evident on field too, with his smooth moving forward, proving a constant aerial threat and damaging pinch hitter throughout the midfield. His strengths include clean hands, endurance, finishing, his forward craft, and his aerial ability. His weaknesses, as noted, endurance and his midfield craft. For me, given that forwards are very up and down, especially in your first couple of years of Supercoach, I'll be steering clear. Good player, but it'll be too inconsistent to start the year for me. Colby McKercher, the number 2 pick, 202k mid out of Tasmania. A snapshot of this guy is that he's a prolific accumulator with equal measures of speed and skill. McKercher is an absolute lock for a top 5 prospect, and as we saw, he went number 2. Few players are capable of racking them up like McKercher did, who dominated his top age campaign across every level. The star Tasmanian talent has long been touted as a player to watch out from Tassie, progressing through the ranks alongside Riley Sanders, who will come up shortly. He finished second in this year's Lark Medal voting and joined this year's National Academy. McKercher was prolific in a stacked Allies engine room, which motored the side to a historic undefeated title run. He also helped Tassie reach the Coates Talent League prelim finals for a second year running, having done so with a massive 2022 as well. He's an All-Australian, team of the league in the Coates Talent League to go with a tied Morris medal. His strengths are clean hands, consistency, decision-making, speed, and work rate. His weaknesses, contested game, and strength, as you can probably imagine for someone that's a little bit shorter in stature. For me, I think he's got to be a lock. If you think back to last year and Harry Sheasel, how they incorporated him across the back line, sort of taught him a little bit about the game. The ball's going to spend a lot of time in North Melbourne's back line. He's been training predominantly as a halfback flanker. His ball use has been good in the preseason. He's a lock for me. And round 6, he'll be a nice watch for that dual position status. He's only a mid at the moment, but if he gains that mid-back status, could be very handy for us. Jed Walter, the big man at Gold Coast Suns Academy, went to Gold Coast, 198k forward. A physically imposing key forward whose defensive application is unique. Walter has also just got a massive set of jukes and loves taking big marks and kicking big bags of goals. Headlining arguably the single best Northern Academy cohort ever on Gold Coast, we know about their picks that they had this year. The hulking key forward is a physical beast and has long been considered one of Queensland's most promising talents. Though he hails from Western Australia, he moved across to Queensland when he was 9. He joined the Suns Academy at 12 years old and progressed through to making his debut in the under-18 side in 2021. As a bottom ager, he was part of the AFL Academy and earned All-Australian selection. And he's just a big dude. In one game in the TAC Cup, in the State Carnival for Queensland, he kicked 8 goals in a game and took 6 contested grabs against the Northern Territory in the Nationals. His strengths are his athleticism, contested marking, his scoreboard impact, and his strength. His weaknesses include his endurance and his consistency. Like Dersma, he's going to be playing forward a lot. I just don't see value here for an 198k forward. I think he'll be a very good player, and I think he's got all the makings to be Charlie Curnow-esque, but not for his first year, especially pre-season, snapping his collarbone. It'll take him a little bit to get going. Riley Sanders at 6 went to the Western Bulldogs. He's from Tassie, the Upper Isle, at 184k mid only. A picture of consistency over the last 2 years for Sanders. He's a high accumulating, no fuss midfielder with clean hands and a high footy IQ. On the radar as a high-end prospect for over 2 years now, Riley Sanders is one of the most accomplished players in last year's draft, boasting 2 Coach Talent League premierships with the Sandy Dragons, an undefeated national carnival with Tassie, and the Lark medal. Sanders just has medals hanging off everywhere. The Tasmanian, who he did board at Melbourne Grammar, averaged 33 touches across the Talent League and the national championships this year, never registering below 25 disposals in any game. He's been a part of the AFL Academy, or was a part of it, for 2 years, performing well in showcase games against Port Adelaide and Carlton reserve side, where he was on the on-ball rotation for the whole game. Clean hands are his strength. Consistency, inside game, stoppage work, and work rate are all noted as his strengths. His weakness, if one, is his explosiveness, but I think alongside McKercher, he's not going to play back. He's going to play mid. As you can see, just loves getting the ball. They rave about him at the Western Bulldogs. He's in my side. I'll bring up my side in a later pod where we'll show exactly what rookies and the ones that I'm fading, but this is one guy that you just can't pass up. Alongside this guy who hasn't really had the attention that other rookies have had so far, but I do want to touch on this guy, Melbourne's pick, number 7 pick, Caleb Windsor. Eastern Rangers, 180k mid forward, so he's got the dual position status too. Caleb Windsor is a speedy outside runner capable of carving up the opposition in attacking phases and laying rundown tackles on the defensive end. Love to hear that. Defensive running, it's great. Blazing through the talent pathway after elder brother Kai, Caleb Windsor has climbed draft boards this year as one of the crop's first-round bolters, or last year's, sorry. The speedy wingman showed early promise in his preferred role and followed through with strong talent league and representative form. Dominated at bottom age level and again at top age level, which led to his Vic Metro selection, whereas afforded centre bounce rotations, and we've heard about this through Melbourne, and predominantly used on the wing. Some have labelled Windsor the best wingman in the country. So take what you will of that when you're looking at Melbourne's side. And while he may have missed out on some of the accolades of the other top talents that I've mentioned so far, he's definitely a top 10 talent in this draft. His speed, his agility, and his ability to carve up the opposition certainly catch the eye. His strengths, as outlined, defensive pressure, outside game, speed, work rate, and his agility. His weakness is his strength. And it's also noted that his execution of kicking, if we can see in his preseason also games that are free to wear on KO and Fox Footy in a couple of weeks, that he's cleaned up his kicking at 180k on a wing. I know they've got Langdon. I know they've got Hunter, but if they want speed and a bit of X factor on a wing, he could be your man. Let's see how this shapes up, but I really like this guy. Our next lot of rookies are going to be brought to you by Ryan from Astute Newstead. With interest rates hitting us for 6 lately, I'm sure you've wondered whether your rates are too high or whether you can afford your dream home. You do not have to wonder anymore. You can contact Ryan, who offers confidential lending assistance with no obligations attached. Contact him on Instagram at Ryan and Astute Newstead and mention us for a free consultation. So our next lot of rookies, number 5, Nick Watson. I want to touch on this guy. Eastern Rangers, 189k mid forward. An electric small forward with an innate goal sense and elite ground level craft. Nick Watson makes up for what he lacks in size with his football wizardry. He's 170 centimetres, so that's, 5 foot fuck all. He's a small dude. No, 68 kegs, so still very light on, but this guy's an absolute wizard with the ball in his hand. Sides throughout the years. He burst on the scene in 2021 as an underager, playing Vic Metro under 17s and making his Coach Talent League debut at 16. Naturally, he backed up his underage year with a big top age year, making the under-18 national team, playing 3 games for the title winners while also helping Caulfield Grammar take out the flag. Named in the AFL Academy Team of the Year, Watson completed a full representative carnival and finished as a competition leading goal kicker with 14 majors at 170 centimetres. That is phenomenal. Such a feat saw him earn All-Australian selection while also being named Coates League or in the Coates League Team of the Year. His strengths are his footy IQ, his forward craft, kicking, and ground balls. His weaknesses are his consistency and his size, 170 centimetres as I brought up, and 68 kegs. For me, yes, he's exciting, but when you've got a forward line at Hawthorn with the likes of Dylan Moore, Jack Ginnivan, him, I'm sure there's others that I'm missing right now. I just don't see a consistent role there for him to be super coach relevant and for him to pump out regular scores. So for me, it's a no. Nate Caddy, Essendon, Northern Knights, 166k forward. Nate Caddy is a marking machine with good speed off the mark, unique aerial range and game-breaking ability. You've heard me rave about him as an Essendon supporter. This gets me quite excited seeing notes like this. There are a few players with as much upside as Nate Caddy in last year's draft, and even fewer who can claim to match his aerial ability alongside Jed Walter. So that's a fair rap. The 193 centimetre Northern Knights forward comes from good pedigree too, as the son of local legend Saul and nephew of two-time premiership Tiger Josh Caddy. Caddy came to prominence as a prospect during last year's Coates Talent League, booting 18 goals in 13 games as one of the Knights' rising stars. He also turned out twice for Vic Metro in under-18s and was named to play in the Futures Showcase. Heading into his top age campaign 2023, Caddy was labelled as a potential top 10 talent and was duly included in the AFL Academy. A fractured leg interrupted the start of the season for Caddy and missed Vic Metro's opening champs game through illness, but still produced an array of starring performances. Among the highlights of the year, Caddy earned selection in the Coates Talent League Team of the Year, was best of field in Parade College, who took out the Herald Sun Shield. So for those of you that are outside of Victoria, that's like the private schools competition that we have here in Victoria. Made his VFL debut with Carlton. His best game on paper was a 6-goal haul against Bendigo, in which he also yielded 25 touches, 9 marks, and was player of the week. His strengths are aerial ability, speed, scoreboard impact, and upside. Weaknesses are ground ball and his tweener size. So he's at 6'4". He plays as a big. He's not really great as a small, but at 6'4", he's sort of that in-between size. For me, I'll be fading him in Supercoach, but really looking forward to seeing him play. Daniel Curtin was drafted to Adelaide at number 8. Claremont from the Waffle 175k defender mid, the top Western Australian in the draft pool. He's a key position prospect who moves like a midfielder. His versatility and class make him a likely top 10 selection, which we saw him go at number 8. A versatile and mobile utility, Curtin will be one of those names headlining the pointy end of the draft, like we saw, having shone at senior and state level throughout the year. Highly regarded in Western Australia pathways for some time, Curtin stamped his authority as a top prospect in the under-17 futures game, winning best of field honours as an intercepting key defender. That's what we're loving to hear, as that's what he will be training for at Adelaide. He made a steady start to last year as a forward before finding his best form for Western Australia in the under-18 champs. He claimed MVP honours and showed his value as a swingman, spending time in the middle, up forward and down back, playing out the remainder of the year in the seniors for Claremont. Curtin looked comfortable at senior level, 16 touches and 4 marks, playing in defence in their senior side, which is awesome for someone that's in their first year of senior footy at AFL level. After they were eliminated at league level, he returned to captain their Colts to a premiership, putting the exclamation mark on a superb season of football. His strengths are aerial ability, composure, size, skills, versatility. His weaknesses are his durability, as we can see by his injury concerns in the preseason, and his ground ball. I don't mind it, but I want to see him healthy before I pick him. Darcy Wilson at 18. Darcy Wilson is a smooth-moving midfield forward with a high-level running capacity and all-round athleticism. Few players in this year's AFL draft comp cover the ground like Darcy Wilson, who has long been one to watch out of the Burren Bushrangers. Wilson compiled an impressive body mage season last year, playing 13 Coates Talent League games, averaging 16 touches, 5 marks, and 1 goal. He also represented Vic Country at under-17s level and was picked for the Futures Showcase. Wilson, has been a lock in the Vic Country side for 2 years, Talent Hub, and earned a spot in last year's National Academy. His top age campaign included a full measure of representative duties, along with another sparkling season for the Murray Bushrangers. As a shining light in a team which won only 3 games last year, Wilson took out his side's best and fairest and was named in the Coates Talent League of the Year, or Team of the Year. He also started the recent combine before the draft, registering the top running vertical jump and second best 2K time trial. His strengths are his athleticism, evasiveness, scoring impact, running capacity, and versatility. His weaknesses are his strength and his contested work. Good reports about this guy out of St Kilda. If he's starting, I'm looking at picking him. Probably a Mateus Philippou from last year. Rossi Lyon will look to integrate him early on, try and get him comfortable at the top level. Speaking of Philippou, really looking forward to seeing him play this year too. That'll do us for that group of players. Now, I've outlined a couple of smokies that I want our viewers to keep an eye on. So our bolters, as I will say, or as I will use, are brought to you by Bonus Bank. Bonus Bank is Australia's #1 match betting site. You can go to bonusbank.com.au and use the code INSIGHT to get 25% off your first month of their premium subscription and start making tax-free and risk-free money today. This guy, drafted 36, Sean Manar from Geelong, 117k mid forward. He's almost a lock to play round one. We've heard the reports out of Geelong. They really like him. He looks ready-made. He's a bit older. He's 26 years of age, and we know what Geelong did with the likes of Podsiadly and so forth, getting them straight in. And Podsiadly, for those of you that are old enough or have played Supercoach for long enough to know, he was very Supercoach relevant right from the start. So mid forward as well, really juicy. I've got him in my side. Clay Hall, who was picked at 38. Clay Hall, West Coast, Peel Thunder. He originates from 117k mid only. Clay Hall is a big-bodied midfielder who gets stuck in at the coalface, but also leans on his running capacity to rack up possessions. Hall made history in the Waffle League last year as his father Derek became the first father-son pair to play in the top flight for Peel Thunder. Now he looks to follow in Dad's footsteps to play AFL, where his dad played 74 games for the Cats and 2 for West Coast. He actually turned down a chance to play in the Futures Showcase on Grand Final Day last year. He instead played for the Peel Colts Premiership and was duly named captain for that team. He only appeared twice at senior level, though, playing round 2 for Peel and playing well. Hall graduated from a wing role to full-time midfield minutes across all levels last year, and was the only non-Allies player to be named in the under-Australian All-Australian team. If not for top 5 prospect Dan Curtin, well, we saw he went number 8, he would have likely taken out MVP honours as well, as was his consistency during the year. Strengths, clean hands, consistency, his running capacity, his size. So he's a big-bodied midfielder, 189 centimetres and 87 kegs. So for those of you playing at home, that's about 6'3". Nice size for a rookie, nice size for a midfielder. His consistency, his inside-out balance are also his strengths. His weaknesses are his burst from stoppage and his composure. So if he looks to get his composure about himself, settle a little bit, use the ball well, I think you'll see him play a lot of games for West Coast, and he's definitely on the radar for me. 2 more that I want to bring up before we finish this episode. Kane McAuliffe. So he was picked at number 40 for Richmond last year, coming out of North Adelaide, 117k mid. He's an absolute beast on the inside. Kane McAuliffe does plenty of grunt work through midfield and has deceptively powerful athletic profile. Coming into his top age year last year, he was one of South Australia's most highly touted prospects. McAuliffe proved an integral part of the States under-18 side. The Port Augusta product came through the ranks at North Adelaide, pardon me, and progressed nicely since opting to board at Prince Alfred College in Adelaide, taking out the James Goss Medal for his school dominance in 2021. He went on to have success with the Roosters and played in the losing 22 Sandford Under-18 Grand Final before being selected in the annual 17s Futures Showcase. Last year, McAuliffe turned out 6 times, or only 6 times in junior grade, and also broke through and played a lot of games at senior level and reserves level, playing 7 games for North Adelaide, who fell short of the finals in each competition. Some of his best form was observed in the Under-18s Nationals, where McAuliffe brought bull-like intensity to the midfield battle and set a consistent tone for what was otherwise a struggling side. He capped off his campaign by tearing up the National Draft Combine, achieving top 5 results in 3 of the 5 testing events to demonstrate his explosive side. His strengths, contested game, kicking penetration, his power, his size, and his tackling. His weaknesses are his outside game. Richmond are raving about this guy. And a lot of good reports coming out of Richmond early on that he's been dominating the inside game at Richmond. If he's picked round 1, I'm going as far to say is that you need him in your side. He looks really good from what we've seen in the footage as well, coming out of Richmond. He looks nice coming out of stoppages. Yeah, he won't be great on the outside, but if you're looking for a Tom Green light at 117k, this guy or the next guy I'm about to bring up might be your man. So the last guy I want to bring up, pick 58, Georgie Stevens. Not really on many people's radar, but maybe after I tell you this. Got drafted to Geelong out of the Greater Western Vic Rebels, 117k mid. So his snapshot, already a well-developed player, and this is 2023 I'm talking about. George Stevens has proven to be a high-level accumulator through the midfield and a composed leader all over the ground. So he started in the back line and then moved through to the midfield. After missing his bottom age season with an ACL tear, Georgie Stevens returned to the field without issue in 2023. He proved to be a brick wall when positioned in defence. So he played in the defensive half of the ground to start with, and a contested beast when deployed through the middle. Not only did he earn AFL Academy selection, but captained the national squad and was a leader throughout his time with Vic Country and Greater Western Victoria Rebels. So if he's gone from missing the year, doing his ACL in 2022, to then captaining the national squad the next year, speaks a lot about his character. Having settled into his return down back, Stevens was then thrown into the thrust of the midfield, where he enjoyed a stellar run towards the back end of the season and put his name up as a prospect who could rise above an even mid-draft pack. Initially thought to be a top 15 to 20 pick, I think recruiters were probably a little bit gun-shy with the ACL injury in 2022, but he bounced back well last year and won a heap of the ball. His strengths are his consistency, his contested game, his strength, his tackling and his work rate, and his weaknesses, as noted, is his athleticism. That's all that I've got on my notes here but for those of you at home listening in or on any good audio platforms, feel free to send us a DM if you want to know about another player that's come through the ranks this year that you think might be Supercoach relevant. We're happy to do the digging for you and see what we can find out about specific players. Also, later this week, we're going to do the rounds. We're going to try and find out as much as we can with practice matches and match sims around the country from hopefully all teams. We'll do what we can. But also, Skiddy and I are going to go live on Thursday night. On Thursday night, we're going through our midfield. You won't want to miss that, as we've actually got some pretty detailed notes and some stats that may want you to rethink how you're going to structure your midfield. But for those of you that haven't, please like and subscribe. Your support means the world to us and enables us to continue doing God's work here, giving you the best content in the Supercoach world. But for now, I am the Supercoach Big Horse. This has been another episode of the AFL Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast. See ya.